Hello and welcome again to Excelsior Trading. I'm Don Carlo, I'm the host, and coming to you in my fashionable house robe. And today we're going to be reviewing a pen. I've done a pen review before. I collect various things, watches, wearing my Seiko Laurel. Just love this stainless, or not stainless, sterling silver case with 18 karat solid gold bezel. Just such a gorgeous watch. Keeping great time for a vintage watch. I haven't sent it in for a service yet. But anyway, back to the pen review. So yeah, we're reviewing a pen today. And this is my Pilot Custom 823. I have mixed feelings about this pen. At the time I purchased it, I read all the reviews about how this could easily be a one and done pen, and I can completely see how the custom 823 could absolutely be a one and done pen. In fact, I brought this to work with me at the hospital last night, and it made me instantly go out and want to buy uh, a vanishing point, a Pilot vanishing point again, just because they're clicky click. I mean, I have to answer the phone, I'm juggling it with one ear, and I'm trying to unscrew the cap. Uh, in the modern society, I mean, clicky click pens are the way to go. And actually, I just placed a bid on a Vanishing Point pen just after spending a night with this pen. Uh, it has a plunge mechanism. It's a little sticky. I don't like that. I don't like that as you're trying to depress it. You know, it's not bad. I had one way worse. Actually, hmm, I wonder if I got angry and just chucked it in the garbage. I had one of those Taiwan made. I can't remember the name of the dang thing. Checking my drawers here to see if I still own it. No, I think I might have got frustrated with the dang thing and just chucked it right in the trash can. Yeah, anyway, I had one of those Taiwan made plunger fills. It was really sticky and jammy and just wasn't having it. Got flustered with it. I think I just chucked it right in the trash can. About 100 bucks right in the garbage. 80 bucks, whatever the hell they charged. But yeah, no, I don't have that qualm with this pen. The plunger, it sticks a little bit as you're trying to compress it into the inkwell, but it still goes down and fills up. Don't have a problem with that. Um, so yeah, this is my Pilot Custom 823. And I'm sure all you pen fanboys already know that it came out in the year 2000. And many fountain pen enthusiasts believe that it could easily be a one and done, which I can absolutely agree with. I mean, it writes beautifully, it writes so smooth. I don't have to apply any pressure when I'm writing with it. And being a cigar shaped pen, you know, you can write in the grip area up here where it tells you to, but I actually prefer to hold it back here and apply less pressure on the paper, and it just glides along, and it's definitely balanced very well somewhere in that midpoint, right around the cap. So if you hold it far back, I mean, it just swoops and swirls and gets wider and thinner. It does everything a fountain pen's supposed to. It does have a gold nib, solid gold nib. Let's see. Yep, mine is a fine, and it's 14 karat. So I'm gonna tell you something, that disappoints me about the custom 823, my particular custom 823, not all of them. You know, I went with the Shadow one. As you can tell, this is the Shadow one, which is clear back here to a very dark, shadowy degree. And the cap is also kind of clear up until the point where the protective cap intersects with the nib so that it keeps it from drying out for long periods of time. I mean, I won't write with my fountain pen for months and months, and I'll pick it up and start writing right away. You know, no problem as long as it's capped properly. But a disappointment in myself. At the time, I was slightly struggling when I decided to pop and buy this pen just because I wanted a custom 823. I was doing a lot of journaling. Yeah, the Yeti. I've reviewed this, the Yeti can. I should probably not do the embossed side. I should probably do the, yeah, there we go, the other side where it actually shines. Oh, keeps every drop so damn cold. But anyway, yeah, you're probably not going to catch me not drinking that video. I just spent 12 hours working in the hospital, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Stayed up another hour eating and watching videos. To hell with it. I felt like making a video before I crash and have to go back in for another 12-hour shift tonight. As you can see the sun glaring through the window back there as the spring light starts to filter through. Let's hope spring is here. I hate the cold. But yeah, anyway, I knew I wanted a custom 823 because of the reviews and the one and done. I wanted it so bad. And this one was just, I don't know, it might have been $20 or $50 cheaper than the regular amber style one. You know, the shadow and the clear were a little harder to obtain than the standard amber colored one. But I really wish I'd gone with the amber. I mean, like I said, you can see through this and you can see the ink level, you know, but it's kind of hard. You usually have to hold it up to a light to really get your bearings on how much ink is in there. And I honestly think I would have been a million times more satisfied if I'd gone with the standard amber. If I had waited just a little bit longer and not purchased the shadow one, which I do. I like dark colors with gold accents, which just has the gold accents. I do like the almost black on gold. Black and gold, they always go together. And I prematurely popped on this. I think I wanted to put it on a credit card at the time, and I didn't have enough to cover the amber one that came with the special limited blue ink, fountain pen ink, and you know, I just grabbed this one. It was like $20 or $30 cheaper, and it fit on the card at the time, so I bought it. Do I regret the purchase? You know, I'm gonna say no, absolutely not. I definitely can understand why this is a one and done fountain pen. I mean, it's about 2.5 twists to take off, and it posts really well. I've never had any problem with the posting. It takes a little tug to get off there. I've never had any issues, and it writes. Like I said, it's definitely the smoothest fountain pen. And I've owned a Pelican, which I think had a steel nib, and I've owned a Vanishing Point, which I sold a couple of years ago when I was going through hard times and I needed the money. And I pretty much got just about what I paid for it, so I'm not regretting that. But it's funny because, like I said, I enjoyed using this at the hospital. I do a lot of paperwork, I do a lot of charting, but I also have to answer the phone and make quick notes, and I really didn't like even taking that much time to untwist the cap. And it got me to thinking, back at the time I got rid of my Vanishing Point, you know, time wasn't an essence. I wasn't answering phones and taking quick notes. I didn't have a problem taking the time to take a cap off of a pen, but it made me miss my vanishing point, which is a smooth writer too. Not as smooth as the custom 823. You know, I have to be honest. You know, this is the smoothest fountain pen. I do have a Grail fountain pen, and I'm not going to mention it in this video. I'll do a review on it when I get one, because I'm going to get one probably not too long in the future. I've been doing pretty well for myself since the pandemic broke out. A little background story. I was unemployed when the pandemic broke out in 2020, and a couple months later, I got a job at the local hospital, and I've just been transferring departments and moving up and making more ever since. So I don't really have much of an issue acquiring my grails, be it an $800 watch or $3,000 watch or whatever. So anyway, I'll review my grail pen when I buy it, and hopefully it'll be better than the custom 823, which is already amazing. I'm not trying to knock this pen, anyone that loves the custom 823. I'm just mad at my own disappointment. I bought this probably right after I was hired by the hospital when I had a little extra money to play with, but just not enough to go the extra mile and get the amber one, which came with the unique blue ink, in the special presentation box. And I was like, 20, 30, I don't know, it's between 20 and $50 cheaper to get the shadow one. And I do like dark on gold, and I thought I'd enjoy it as much, and I don't. Every time I'm writing with this pen, I'm trying to see how much ink is left in there with that shadow, which is very dark. I'm holding it up to the light. I'm like, I'm kicking myself that I didn't go with the amber. I did not go with the amber, the standard custom A23. For 20, 30, or even $50, I wish I'd held out until I could have afforded the amber. And I'll be honest with you, the custom 823 is an amazing pen. I mean, honest to God, I very much contemplated keeping this one and getting the amber in 823, where you can see the ink sloshing easily back and forth inside of it and know exactly the level without holding it up to a bright light. I've honestly thought about it. I probably will. Mm, since I already have an 823, I'm probably going to hold off on that for a while. You know, I have other pens of interest. Like I said, I am pursuing getting my vanishing point again, because now that I work in a job where I have to take quick notes, I have to answer the phone. I don't know if I've ever described my job on the channel, but I'm a telemetry monitor technician. That means I watch many patients' hearts and analyze their rhythms all night and answer to doctors and nurses and have to put patients on the monitor, from different floors, different units. But, you know, the phone will start ringing and I have to grab a piece of paper and get ready to jot down a note. I pull this out of my shirt pocket as the phone's ringing. I have to take the time to twist and a half to get it open. Then I answer the phone and I jot down a note. Even just that few seconds of inconvenience, dozens of times a night, I'd rather have my vanishing point, my pilot vanishing point, where I could just pull it out of the pocket, click it, answer the phone, and jot down a note. I really wish I had that vanishing point. I let it go during hard times, and at that point in my life, it's funny how certain things, certain objects you own, don't hold relevance. I own that vanishing point for years. I loved it because of the uniqueness and the pen history. The vanishing point, they called it the capless originally, and then some years ago in the 70s they changed the name to the vanishing point. But the capless was really an engineering feat for fountain pens, to have a fountain pen that you could just, click and start writing with. But at the time I let it go, I needed the money more than needed the pen, and I since I collect pens, I had so many other pens I was using, and I just really wasn't using the vanishing point that often. At the time, if I wanted to journal or something, I had all the time in the world to just 1.5 quarter turns a pen and write whatever I wanted to write. And even my first job at the hospital, I was a supervisor in environmental services. And even then, as a supervisor, I had time if I had to write something down, I could, take a few extra seconds. But then I took a position, like I said, in telemetry, which pays better. Or now I have to answer the phone and write down a quick note. And sometimes, a few seconds matters. You got to answer the phone. You try to answer it within a couple of rings, 2 or 3 rings, to be professional, being that's a hospital. And, I brought this pen to work with me last night. And like I said, I enjoyed spending time with it because, I don't bring this one to work. I mean, obviously, I usually bring something simpler. I'll put that aside. I'll take another pen. This is a pen I reviewed, the Baron Fig Squire in brass, which is toning up nicely. Yeah, usually, I mean, 9 out of 10 times I have this in my pocket at work. And, I pull it out of the pocket and it's a twist. It uses a twist mechanism right here at the cap to deploy it. Yeah. Last night I just felt like changing it up. I wanted to carry a different pen. So I brought my custom A23 and it did the job. I mean, throughout the night it did the job. I mean, even as the phone rings once or twice, I mean, it doesn't take but a second or two to twist that off. Most of the time, if I was answering the phone and not doing a pile of paperwork, I wouldn't even bother posting it. I just quickly jot down what they told me. So I'm not saying this failed to perform. I'm just saying I liked, this channel is Excelsior. It's better, better, best. It's the best for the purpose. And it made me really miss my vanishing point last night. Having this for 12 hours at a hospital, busy unit, phone calls coming in, this pen made me miss my vanishing point, and I sold it. So I'm going to pick up another vanishing point. Also note, before the vanishing point, another pen I'd always had interest in buying, I already purchased and have getting ready to ship to me a Lamy 2000 fountain pen. Which, like I said, even this with the full 1.5 twist to unscrew the cap, I looked at the perks of the Lamy 2000, which is also known to be one of the most comparable EDC fountain pens that you can carry daily. And I'll probably use it at work once it arrives, and I'll do a review on it. But, like my beer, you know, this with the 1.5 twist to the cap and the Lamy 2000, you just pull the cap off, post it, and you're ready to write. I mean, it's technically faster than the 1.5 twist. To go more into the Lamy 2000, like I said, I'm a pen collector as much as a watch collector and a connoisseur of a number of different things. Part of my interest in picking up the fountain pen version is I have in my drawer somewhere the way cheaper Lamy 2000 ballpoint. My qualms with this pen is I hate the friggin' ink, and it's very proprietary. It's very proprietary in its ink. There we go. Hard to find that seam, part of the whole deal with it. But you really have to use the Lamy 2000 proprietary ink. The way they designed it with that extra attachment and all that gimmickry and BS, I don't find it to be a very smooth flowing, enjoyable ink. I really don't. You know, I'm probably gonna sell this pen, my Lamy 2000 ballpoint. I mean, it clicks and everything. I don't ever use it. It sits in a drawer. I've got multiple inks for it. I don't use it. I do love um, the proprietary casing and the design that they came up with back in the 1960s, using the what do they call it, Maclaron or whatever, a fiberglass. You know, I love all that about this pen. I just hate that goddamn cartridge. I hate it. You know, going back to, I like smooth flowing inks, and this uses Schmidt ink. It flows like a gel and it dries instantaneous. I mean, this ink, all right, I'll just be honest. It sucks. I mean, it dries fast enough, but it doesn't lay down wet, smooth, or bold. I just don't enjoy using the ink in this pen. My Lamy 2000 ballpoint. And the ballpoints are a hell of a ton cheaper than I just blew the money on a friggin' fountain pen with a gold nib. These are like 50, 60, I don't know, $80, I don't know, whatever the hell they go for. But it sits in my drawer. I don't use it. I mean, it's a very reliable pen, you know. It is very reliable. It never ceases to write or whatever. You have to, because it's not very gelish or liquidy ink, I mean, you kind of have to press down a little bit as you write with it. I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy it. I don't use it, Just an example. I don't use it. So it sits in a drawer. And I should probably just sell it and move on, especially once the fountain pen version arrives. Yeah. Anyway, this video is drawn on kind of long, and it's supposed to be about the Pilot Custom A23, even though I tossed in a couple other pens. I'm gonna throw in another pen to this review just for crafts and ha-has. Literally the best pen ever for like long writing at work. I would have to say is the Unistream Alpha Slim with the Plasmium gel grip. It's so comfortable to write with. But something I'll tell you about this pen is I cheat and I don't use the ink that comes with it. This is like the best comfortable barrel. But then I throw in an Energel. The Energel fits in the same space as the cartridge. And it's a clicker, so if you got a lot of fast writing to do at work, it works just fine. Screw that back down. It's a clicker. Yeah, yeah. This. I came up with this back when I was security and would pull it out of my shirt pocket to take quick notes. The Energel ink is crazy fast drying. I mean, if you're left-handed, no matter what, it dries as fast as you write it, and it lays down as smooth and wet as gel every time. It's fast clicking. And just the shape of this barrel being slim, but then getting thicker in the gel grip. And I got into, looking for ergonomic pens when I was young because my hand would always cramp as I was writing if I wrote for a while. So I was always looking for the most comfortable grip pen. But yeah, the Uni Jetstream Alpha Slim, I hate to say, this mixed with throwing an Energel, a Pentel Energel ink cartridge into it, still seems to be probably the best pen on earth. I hate to say it. And both are cheap. I mean, you can get this pen shipped from Japan for like $20. Get the Energel ink by the bucket load for like $20. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I stopped using it. Maybe I got bored. I don't know. Wanted to try other things for a while. And I'm not disappointed. Like I said, this is probably my workhorse pen at work. The Baron Squire in brass or copper, whatever. It's starting to pick up a nice patina on it from all the hand wear. With I really relate this twist tip with the Sensa pens of the 80s and 90s, which were so hugely popular and are starting to make a comeback. The company's trying to sell again. I didn't even realize it came back. But yeah, this has been my workhorse pen. It's perfectly ergonomically balanced, and you know, you can just write all day with it. I don't know why I went back to the custom A23, went to a fountain pen. I mean, fountain pens obviously are always going to beat any of these type of pens as far as writing performance, smoothness, as long as you have a quality fountain pen. But yeah, the A23. I absolutely understand why many people consider it the one and done EDC fountain pen. Unless you work in a hospital and you have to take quick phone calls and one half twist is too long between phone calls and it starts to inconvenience you. Um, and in case it irks you that you accidentally bought the shadowed case, which is way too dark to be a true exhibitor of the large ink reservoir, you know? So that's what I have with this. If I was going to rate this pen on a scale out of 10, 1 out of 10, I'd have to put this pen at about an 8. And trust me, if this were the amber version or the clear version, I'd probably bump that up to a 9. Easily 9 out of 10. I'd have to give it an 8 out of 10, because my own personal choice of the darker shadow, which does look good. I do enjoy the look of it, but, and I can see the ink. It's just when you start getting into inconveniences, it all factors in. So, 8 out of 10 for my custom A23. If you want a comparison, this pen, it's almost a perfect 10. I mean, really. I mean, besides the fact that, it has this tapering grip that gets wider towards the end here, and sometimes, when I grab it and write with it, I don't feel I'm holding it right place. And the Schmidt ink is kind of funny. Even though it's a rather large cartridge that really fills this barrel, when it starts to get low, it starts to get weak. And the amount of pressure you have to write with changes, it varies. This would nearly be a 10 out of 10 pen. As it sits, yeah, I'll give it a 9. I'd put this, I'd love carrying this as much as that pen if I'd made a smarter purchase with the custom A23 and got it in the amber barrel or the clear barrel. As we're rating pens that we've popped a view in this video, this one. Honestly, I can't give it a 10 out of 10 because something that happened, and it's happening again, is something broke right here that retains this back piece from just popping off completely. But I mean, this is an inexpensive pen. It's like a $20 pen. I don't even know that the last one I owned that was a problem. I think this started to deteriorate after years and years of using. But for a $20 pen, I mean, you have to factor all that into it. And the fact I could fit my favorite ink on earth, the Energel, the Pentel Energel, which is literally the smoothest writing, fastest drying ink that I've ever actually found, even comparatively with fountain pens or ball points or whatever the hell you want to call it, or gel or whatever. The Energel refills, to me, are the holy grail. And they're dirt cheap. You can buy a box of 20 of them for like less than 20 bucks shipped. And you can buy this pen for about 20 bucks shipped, even from Japan, even though it was initially an exclusive model. And even with that, if you push up on the cap or, you click it too much or whatever the heck I was doing, that gets it to loosen up. Even if that little piece in there breaks, I mean, it still stays all together and functions and writes properly. I'm going to give my combination of the Uniball Jetstream Alpha Slim with a Energel cartridge for the ink. If you're willing to marry those two together, I give this a 9.5. 9.5. You know, all day long. This is probably the nearest to perfection that writing has ever gotten for me. And, well, ever since my Squire came in and I've been playing with a number of other pens, I've kind of shelved this and it just sits on my desk every day. But, you know, I also like varieties of ink. That's something we didn't really discuss. I mean, in my custom A23 and many of my other fountain pens, I want a unique ink, and I found that in Diamine Oxblood. You know, it's a mixture of kind of a reddish brown, and it it's very dark when you write with it. You know, which leads me back to wanting to use my fountain pens. I like my Diamine Oxblood. Very thick jar of it. I've had this jar already for a couple of years, and I haven't used even a teaspoon of it. Another one I've played with, which I've been contemplating instead of loading my new pen when it arrives with my Oxblood, which the Oxblood is technically my favorite color, the reddish brown color that goes on very dark. I like blue blacks. And I also have Archival Register ink, you know, which is a blue black ink. But it's very corrosive, and I think I want to try this more in my gold nib pens as opposed to my steel nib pens, because I think loading up my whatever the hell that cheap Taiwan plunger fill pen was, I can't. I mean, it's not cheap. It's like $80 or 100. It's a famous company. Everyone's into it. But yeah, I think it started to corrode the steel pretty fast. Trying to see. Yeah, this is Diamine. Diamine Black Blue Royal ink. And this is famous in Europe because royalty has actually used this ink for, I don't know, something like 100 years. Princes, kings, all sorts of royal people have used this to sign documents. You know, and I don't mind it. You know, I don't know. I'm still on the fence of whether I want to load up my brand new Lamy 2000 fountain pen when it arrives. So I just ordered it last night. If I want to load it with the register ink. I mean, part of my qualm with inks and fountain pens is a lot of legal things. You know, when you go to government buildings, sign documents, they always scream it's got to be blue, black, or whatever. And, you know, I'm kind of worried that even as dark as my Oxblood ink is, that they might be like, that's not blue, it's not black. Even though a photocopy's easy, you know, plenty dark, darker than most blue pens easily. It really, you know, shines as like a very dark red and mixture of brown. You know, I'm just afraid that the whole stigma around you have to sign illegal documents in black or blue because any other color might not show up on photocopies. I photocopied this ink. In a photocopy, it looks pitch black. It's that dark. It's such a beautiful ink. You know, but I worry. I worry about that sort of thing. You know, you're using an everyday carry. You want it to be legally accepted if you write out a check to your landlord or if you sign off a document. You know, you don't want somebody in your face with it's not blue or black. You know, that's why blue black inks have become my favorite in the past while. Um, Trying to think. What I use in there? Now I use the blue ink in my because it has to use Schmidt ink, which is either blue or black. But the Schmidt ink is almost a navy blue. But some of my favorite pen inks I was using right before I switched to the Schmidt pen were multi pens that used blue black inks. But anyway, We won't get into that in this video. We're coming up on 35 minutes. God bless you if you've sat here for 35 minutes watching me in my robe in my living room. Have a good night.